How to Defeat a Quadruple Struggle, starring Russell Westbrook.
And they throw it away. And there's the capper. The bow on it was Baisley dunking it. Uh-oh, and Russ is telling him. Russ is in Baisley's face, telling him not to do that. This is not going to sit well. Again, these two teams will play again next week at Staples Center.
Russ just got tossed.
Again, the youngest team in the NBA. And, you know, those are the, quote, unwritten rules, if you want to talk about it. Whether you believe in them or not, that's up to you. Russ, obviously, gave Baisley an earful, and Russ tossed.
Wait a minute. Didn't before, not too long ago, you did this?
And the door was just slammed by Westbrook. Loses the handle. And the door was just slammed by Westbrook.
First win at home against the Lakers, I would have gone in there and tomahawked that thing just like he did. But yeah, you know, you don't get frustrated for someone doing that after you blow a 26-point lead. You don't get frustrated at something that Oklahoma did. I mean, the guy just stole the ball. You know, he didn't want to dribble it out. I don't blame him for that. But I think what I saw was frustration on Russ's part for losing the game and him coming back to where, you know, he played and blowing that lead. That's what I saw.
Russ, I can understand what Russ was doing, but still, Russ, don't be mad at him. Be mad at the coaching staff, be mad at your teammates, be mad at the managers, be mad at everybody that's going to be on that Laker plane except for Stu.
He was basically saying, no, young fella.
Yeah, but yeah, I know what he's saying, but still, you got to understand, though, I guarantee you Russ would have did it too. Because when you beat the Los Angeles Lakers, when you're a team that says you're not even supposed to win a game this year, and you come up, you down that many points, you come wrong back, you want to put an exclamation point on that game. And I'm not mad at young fella for doing it because Russ, like I said, should only be mad at everybody on that plane because they had that game won, but because they took OKC light.
A man's flaws are interwoven into the traits that make him great. If you look at Russell Westbrook and we look at the traits that make him great, I can tell you every last one of his flaws. 19 points in the first quarter. They're like, man, we good. And then they give up 37 in the second quarter. And then they come out in the third quarter and say, you know what, I know we can do worse than that. I know we can give up more than 37 in a quarter. And what they do, they give up 41. So in the span of the second and third quarters, they give up 78 total points. They did. Really? Again, got out-rebounded. How does a team with Anthony Davis, with DeAndre Jordan, with Dwight Howard, get out-rebounded by a team? They can't have anybody over 6'10". And they got out-rebounded. It's only two, but it's the mere fact that you're getting out-rebounded by much smaller teams.
Yeah.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Skip, look, Russ is who he is. This is what you mean. They keep saying, we need Russ to be Russ. You will never win with Russ being Russ. There's a reason why he has not won since Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant said, you know what? I'm loading my truck up and I'm moving to the Bay.
Thank you.
So stop this. Stop saying we need Russ to be Russ because you saw Russ being Russ last night and you saw what he got you, a quadruple double, but in the worst way. In the worst way. 10 turnovers?
10 more turnovers.
And because Russ is stubborn, he doesn't understand. I don't like his basketball IQ. He sees the momentum changing. And what does he do? He'll come jack up a three. Yeah. He sees the momentum changing. He'll still go 1-on-4. Yeah. He sees the momentum changing. He's trying to throw a lob from half court. Bruh, can you understand that the momentum is changing? They're gaining momentum. You do not need to attempt these ill-advised shots.
Yep.
But he can't help himself. This is who he is.
Yep.
At some point in time, Skip, we are what we repeatedly do. What has he repeatedly done over the last 8 years? Be first or second in turnovers. That's what he's done. So therefore, it is not an accident. It is not a singular act. It is a habit. That's who he is.
Thank you.
So until
what I have been saying for years and years. Go ahead.
Until LeBron realizes that you're not going to win. You're not going to go nearly as far as you want to be.
Yep.
if he's your primary decision maker, because he makes the worst decision. Now, everybody was on.
Thank you.
Just yesterday, they were blowing up. I told you, look at Russ. When LeBron get back, I'm saying he can't play like this with LeBron. And what did he do? He jacks up to it. Skip, he is he's an inefficient, ball dominant, high turnover player.
Thank you.
Let me repeat. Inefficient, ball dominant, high turnover. And when you say, well, Shannon inefficient, he scored 20 points. Yeah, but it took him 20 shots. Oh, he had 14 turnovers. Assists. He had 10 turnovers. There is the inefficiency. There is the ball domination.
And the great painful irony was Russell Westbrook went back home to Oklahoma City, where it all started for him, and where I told you that a source very close to Kevin Durant told me that the reason Kevin decided I can't do this anymore, I've got to join forces with the team that we had down 3-1 in the conference finals, the Golden State Dynasty Warriors. I've got to go there because I cannot win a championship going into year 10 with that man as my primary decision maker, because Russ dribbled the ball up the floor for those Thunder, and it was Russ's choice. Am I going to do it, or maybe let you try to do it this time? And finally, Kevin couldn't take it anymore and said no. So last night, the irony was Russ goes back the conquering hero. What I've always said about Russell Westbrook is his greatest strength is also his greatest weakness.
Yes.
His greatest strength is he plays harder than anybody on the offensive end of the floor. And his greatest weakness is he plays so hard he plays completely out of control.
I agree.
And he has, over the last 5 years, gotten a triple-double pass for all the poor passes, the awful passes he throws, because he's averaging triple-doubles. And he's almost doing it again for your Lakers. He's now up to 18 points a game, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists. It's almost he's doing it again. For the last 5 years, he has averaged inconceivably a triple-double. And where has it gotten his teams that he played for? Nowhere. Because it's a solo act, stat machine. And to your point, I've always said this is the damnedest thing about Russell Westbrook. He's a point guard who has a lousy feel for the game of basketball. But he is he doesn't have the conscience every other point guard in the world has, because after the game he said, okay, I'll take the blame for this. You know, I've got to be more careful with the ball. I got to protect the basketball. But he doesn't believe it. You don't see it manifest itself. The next game he'll go out there saying, I'm almost averaging a triple-double. Watch this. I just had a triple-double, right?
I've had some conversations over the last several days with some younger players in the league, which is kind of shocking to me because I never heard people say this about a LeBron James team, where they don't find the Lakers intimidating at all. People are actually excited about playing this team. And then when you actually start, I was at the Nets game last night, but I came back home and I'm actually watching the Lakers game for a minute. I'm like, man, like seeing how they defend, seeing how they play, the lack of urgency, like that last minute and a half of the game, that was almost embarrassing to watch how they actually tried to execute some things. And I think that's more revealing to me than anything. Now, granted, LeBron's at level of players looking at them and saying, we don't really respect the Lakers. Even though they got a championship, this team is older. They don't play with a sense of urgency. And yeah, they could turn on here and there, but maybe they won't. And maybe a team like OKC, the youngest team in the league last night, beats them at home and they're having fun on the basketball court. Like, I've never seen that before. Yeah. Having fun, like smiling, young players smiling, playing against the Lakers. That's shocking to me.
I'm out, man. That nigga's tripping.
Russ, do you have any thoughts on that, just especially in the kind of the second half? And
no, I mean, I agree with AD. We had the game in our hands. We lost the game, simple as that.
What were your thoughts on the ejection?
It is what it is, you know. I don't think I got the first tag, honestly. The first one wasn't even a tag. The last one was a tag, that's cool, but just how I play the game, and you know, I'm more old school. That happened, I don't let it slide. So, you know, I take it on the chin and move on. But, you know, the game of basketball, certain things you just don't do. Like in baseball, you don't throw the bat. There's certain things you just don't do in sports. Game already over, and I didn't like it.
I'm proposing a Russell Westbrook for Ben Simmons trade.